Hey, what's up everyone? Upstart here with RyXe Gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. Now in the previous episode, um, like half of the episode was me just showing you guys how I set up my manufacturing for computers, heavy modular frames, high-speed connectors, crystal oscillators, everything that goes into the computers and the heavy modular frame. Since I'm using alternate recipes, I have different setups, and that's why I mainly had I had to have crystal oscillators automated for the computers. Also, circuit boards, AA limiters. Um, what else? High-speed connectors are for supercomputers. I actually did set something up for to automate or semi-automate, I'll say, supercomputers. But that was not. I didn't do that in the previous episode. I didn't do it before that or during. I did it while I was doing my fuel generator. What would I call it? Power plant, I guess. Because we also unlocked the fuel generator milestone, including I think that included these Mark IV. No, these Mark IV conveyor belts, conveyor lifts. I don't know what else it had. I think that was it. We also did some unlocking of some of the tech nodes in the MAM. I think mainly having to do with Caterium. I can't really remember right now. I have bad memory, so try not to blame that on. Please don't blame it on me. I do try to go back and recall, like look back at what I did last, and because there's so many things to do here that I'm like, okay, what was the last thing I actually mentioned that I did? Because I know I do a lot of things. But anyways, so in this episode, I'm pretty much just gonna show you guys my fuel generator power plant that I set up, which as you can see here in front of me. So let's start by saying that, well, my refinery over there, the official, the OG, just standard fuel recipe that just converts crude oil into the fuel. That one produces 160 per minute. The residual fuel does 160 as well. So I actually have that implemented here, or I've taken it into account. I do have a split right there. I don't know if you guys can see. There's a split there that goes over there that I mentioned, that I have it going to another refinery that makes the packaged fuel, which I have some here on hand. That doesn't work. That's not working all the time. That's only working when the actual standard recipe fuel refinery actually produces fuel, and the byproduct is the resin. So it sends that to another factory, turns that into plastic with with some water, and then that one goes into a constructor, makes the empty canister, and then the refinery keeps going down the process to make the packaged fuel. So if that's not producing, I'm not producing packaged fuel. It doesn't really matter. So if that then that eventually fills up, and well, then technically, instead of being split half here, which would be 80 fuel going that way and 80 fuel going this way, well, then it would be the whole 160, right? So I have this set up so where the standard fuel recipe refinery is on one pipe. The bottom pipe is a standard fuel recipe. The top pipe is the residual fuel that sometimes splits off that way. But I've more or less contemplated that and set this up in that manner. So right now, I would have to get down, but I'll show that later. I really can't remember how many fuel generators I have. I would have to recount them. But what I did is I pretty much just split. Like I said here, you know what? Let's get down now. I split it so where 160 is coming through this pipe, and 160 per well, on occasions 160 per minute that way. I think right now, since like I said, I think right now it's hardly making anything. I think right now it's just like every once in a while. So most of the time it's not split, so most of the time it is the 160 instead of the 80. So what I decided to do here with the, I'm just gonna call these heavy industrial fluid buffers because they don't actually have a name. I don't think so. I don't think they've changed it any. Yeah, they haven't changed that industrial fluid buffer, but I'll call it heavy. Mainly because it uses heavy modular frame. Actually, not mainly because of that. Just mainly because they're big. They're real big. I like how they look. The roundness of it, you know, it's pretty cool. So, anyways, there's 160, you know, pretty much traveling through the bottom, and there is a lot of connecting pipes and all that, splitting and all that. But you know, there's work in the back. But I pretty much just have it split that way, where the bottom is the bottom and the top is the top. So they're separate, and at the same time, yeah, they are separate. Then they don't combine in any. At some point, I guess they do combine at one point, which is here, when they, you know, go out towards the thing. So what I decided to do was this, right? So that those two right there are kind of like buffers. Where from there, that's where it goes. The fuel goes directly into that, and then it splits off into the bottom four. And then the top one, you know, splits off into the top four. So it's pretty much the same setup, just on different levels from a different pipeline. So this, you may think that is, you know, like, well, why do you have that? Like, is it really necessary to split it off? Because, you know, this is what I have here. That goes into there. My usual splits here, where it splits in half, and then it goes down this way, half that way. And then it splits off again here, pretty much the same, you know, the refinery setup, the coal power plant, the water pipeline setup. It's pretty much the same thing. And then it rejoins out here, and that's what I was talking about. Like, some people might say, like, why do you want that? You don't have to, but I wanted to have it. First of all, I wanted to have it because I wanted to have these work as buffers. You know, they're full right now, but those could work as like buffers. Also, I just wanted to put the fluid buffers, these fluid containers. So it won't be like if you're, you know, if the refinery is overproducing or whatever, and this is not using that much, you know, you kind of have that as a backup when you get to a point where your fuel generators use too much, at least for a certain amount of time. So right now I'm producing 6.9K. So 3.6K, I believe, is just from the coal power plants. As I mentioned before, that's for me. I believe that even just like maxing out my my consumption at those, you know, maxing out those 3.6K, to me that's a solid. I haven't tested it out right, but it is a solid 3.6K of electricity. So if I were to be at the limit, as long as I don't go over, you know, and, you know, below my grid, it would not, you know, decrease in any way, and I would just, you know, it would just be a constant 3.6K if I were using 3.5 or 3.5, you know, 550 or 3.599, you know. So that's what I believe. So in this one, the remaining, what is it, 3.3K? It's actually not very solid. The only thing that I believe is solid is I don't know how much is being produced from the standard fuel. I think the standard fuel is over there somewhere. The standard fuel refineries, or standard fuel recipe, the 160 per minute. That's the only one that I feel is solid. So if I were to, you know, go like close to the end of this, you know, I will eventually start running out. But that's what these are for, so that they can, like, you know, it could run for a limited time while it consumes it. That's like having like a reservoir of sorts, right? But anyways, I'm gonna change to this. So, alright, sorry about that. I just wanted to recount how many I had. Okay, so what I have going on is 2 sets of 4 on one side, 2 sets of 4 on the other, and then a set of 3 at the end, because those 2 sets of 3 are actually just like, they're not like something that I would have for sure working. If I were to have my power grid being used at the max, these 3 will eventually, you know, these 2 sets of 3 here will eventually stop working because they won't be getting enough fuel. That's what I think, because without, you know, if I'm not I'm producing the residual fuel. A lot of these, I would probably say about half of it will blow out. Would stop. Half of the fuel generators will just stop producing electricity, and the other half will actually continue working. So what I have here is pretty much the split goes that since the bottom is 160, that buffer right there doesn't really count towards the split. I would count it as 160 in total from this bottom. These bottom four, and that's pretty much split it first by half here, which then goes 80 and 80, then half again 40 40, but then it comes back in, but like I said, it comes back out together. But like I said, it's pretty much like to have a reservoir, a backup, fuel, which say 1200 each. The top, I went with I didn't want to over I didn't want to count on having the full 160 for the top, so I just went like, I'm using 80 for that. Let's say that's for that, and I'm only using 80 over here. Right now I'm probably using 160, but what my idea is that I would have 80 in total, so it would be 40 for those two and 40 for those two, then it'd be 20 20, still be 40, so it'd be 80 and 40 and 80 and 40, so that goes 120. And pretty much did the split. These consume, according to this, oh by the way, that's a bug right there, it's not actually consuming that much, as you can see. It's 15 metric cubes or cubic meters of fuel per minute. So here all I did was pretty much did the division, 120 divided by 15, I believe, is 8. So it's pretty much the same thing on that side. So I just went, I do two sets of 4, both sides, and that consumes the 120, right? So there's still an extra 80 that right now, yeah, probably most of the time I would have it, but I don't count on it. I'll just say that maybe occasionally I would get it back, and so that's why I have the added 6 generators at the end. I don't remember exactly the calculations I did for that, so it would be another 80 that I would be getting. So it would be another 40 on each side. These consume 15 each, so technically I'm over consuming, but that would only be the case when I'm when I'm getting close to the limit of what I can produce. So in this case, the reason why I did that as well, I'm like, what, just add 3 just to over consume when we get to that point, because I didn't want to have too much residual fuel being kept, because if I'm not making the residual fuel, then I'm not getting rid of the byproduct of the plastic and rubber, which is the heavy oil residue. So that's why I did that. So, but this is not something I can actually count on when I would be like at my limit of the power grid. Doesn't mean it's not gonna hold up very well. It will hold up at the very least. That I will count on like having maybe around anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 megawatt hour. I probably count that as to be a solid, production or electricity that I can count on, and it won't go out. It won't start, dipping or anything because it's not producing enough. These 6 here are the ones I wouldn't count much on. Those are just the extra 900 there, because I actually did only have 6,000, and then this 900 is just these 6 here. When I connected them, that's what came up. So that's pretty much what I did there. I don't know if anyone, just about anyone would just do it differently. It's just the idea I had. I'm like, what, it works. It may be simple. It may, it may not be as complicated as other things. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it works, right? So another thing was that, so I'm like, how am I gonna split? If I were to get that extra 80, how would I split? All I did was come over here, and since this split here, I usually never use it. This junction, it's just to split half that way, half this way. All I did was, let me just bring something down, a little pipe down here, and bring it out this way. And that's the one. Both sides is the same thing. That's what feeds into these last 2 sets of 3 fuel generator. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So I have a ton of electricity. My power grid is pretty much good. I don't really have the need to do anything else with my factories because I pretty much automated everything to this point except for supercomputers, which I have semi-automated, which I don't know if I mentioned. All I did was put up manufacturer and put some containers, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see how much I need to make a certain amount of supercomputers, and you know what? Just throw that into the containers. That's pretty much all I did, and I let it run for however long it has to run, and that's it. Okay, so that's about it there. That's about it, really. I can't think of anything else really that I would have to mention here. Sometimes I don't really explain how I split things, but you just have to do a little thinking, a little calculating. You're like, you know what? I need to split 4-way, and you just try to figure out a way to split 4 ways, right? Equally, right? Of course, I always try to do as equal as possible. Also, another thing is that we're still left with this milestone. I don't have enough mycelia right now, but I'm down here. There are some coral stuff around here that I can get, like over there on the beach. So I will be getting some, so I will be making that as well. Another thing that I did, well, it's not anything of interest down here. So let's head back up to the hub, and and I'll show you guys what I did. All right, so we're back up here, but actually we're not at the hub just yet because I kind of remembered something else that I did. I set up 2 assemblers here, and I've got them. I automated the nobelisks. I know I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I didn't, or I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it, and I was like, you know what? Let me think about it. I think it would be a good idea to just automate that and get explosives. I actually do have 9 nobelisks on me, but actually this has been running for a while, and I think that. Come on, am I too far away? All right, that container right there is full. Nobelisk stacked in 50 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's a container full of Nobelisk. That's a second container. That's a third container. That's a half container, and then that last one is not full yet. So what I thought was, I'm like, you know what? Am I using my pipes right now? I'm like, because I think I'm only using it for like rotors and stages. I think no, that's not it. That's something else. Over on the other side though, rotors and stators, and I'm like, am I using all of it? Am I constantly making these? I'm not. I think my motor container somewhere down, I think it's on one of those. I'm like, I checked it, and like, is it still producing motors? No, it's not producing it anymore because a lot of my containers are full. A lot of my production lines have either stopped or they're just like on a stop and go basis because something either slow is consuming it, very slowly, and it just makes more than what the other thing consumes, things like that. So that's what happened here, and I'm like, you know what, the pipes aren't even being used. You know what, let's do it, and I set that up right here. So now I have a bunch of, not this one, next one over. Pretty much same thing though. It's 2 assemblers. Black powder coming on one side, pipe on the other, and that's what we got going on here. I think I can't remember why I lowered this. I think it was because the ratio on the black powder wasn't high enough. I know I probably wasn't going to consume more than what I had because I do have like 2 containers. Like I think I have this one full of black powder, and then I have 3 more over there plus the 8 more I think at the end that the assemblers that are making the black powder, like that I have as a buffer, I think each of those are full too. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, that's fine, I guess. So now let's head back to the hub. Alright, so not exactly there, but we're about there. We're walking towards it. So this is the thing that I did. This is the other thing, the thing that I actually wanted to mention that I did. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I need to, unlock tier 7 and 8. So I'm gonna have to make the remaining 100 of these, the 500 of these, and the 100 of these. So I was like, you know what? let me just make 2 manufacturers, do the same thing I did with the supercomputer thing. I can't remember which one I did first, which came first, you know, chicken or the egg, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just put 4 containers for that because that one's 4 items, separate items, and I put 3 containers here. That one I stacked it higher because I needed a lot more of the items that would fit in the container. This has been done for a long time already, while I was doing other stuff. So this one I had it making modular frames. I put power shard just to, you know, speed that up because I think it would have taken forever because it was only making 1 part of this per minute without the overclock. So it needed 500. Do the math. How many do you think I would have to do? How long would it take to make 500 of these? Many hours. This one I have it on beacons, but because that's for some other thing that I did. Adaptive control unit. This one actually made it faster. I think this one was actually being made like 2 per minute or something. This one was only 1. So this one's going faster, I believe. This one wasn't as slow as that one over there. This one only needed 100, so I'm like, you know what? I think it would have been the slower one I needed less, and the faster one I needed more, right? You know, I thought that would have been better, but doesn't matter. I had it on beacons because I just needed to make a bunch of beacons because I wanted to have a bunch of beacons. Anyways, so here I have what is that? 89. Why am I climbing? I can just do that. So 2400 versatile framework in there, 89 here. That means I'm still missing 11, right? There's 7 in there, 4 in there, boom. That's the 2.5K, so 2500. There's the 100 adaptive control units in there, and there's a 500 in there. So pretty much I can just connect this right now, and that would be done, right? But I'm not gonna do that just yet. What I want to do first is I want to continue unlocking some of these things here because, like, I like to, you know, like I mentioned, I like to get things completed even if they're not necessary, but if they're not necessary, just do it like later. So this is the last thing we have available right now in the tiers that we have. Tier 6 is done. Tier 5, all we have is the gas mask. So I'm gonna go ahead and mash out those fabrics because I already got the mycelia I needed. I got 66. I think I just need 1. I hope it's just 1. Never really thought about it, but I think it's just 1 mycelia. Yeah, 1 mycelia per fabric and 5 biomass, which I have like a ton somewhere in these containers. Yeah, right there, 4.1k, almost 2. So I might try to finish some of these as well because we got almost everything, and I do have these high-speed connectors to just, you know, start doing those. I do have all this supercomputers. I have about 350, 344 or something like that. I can't remember. But anyways. I'm just gonna get all the materials I need, everything together, and we're gonna start completing all these milestones, or these milestones and those tech nodes over there. Alright, so I now have at least most of the items that I think I'll be, you know, that I think I need for the things I think I can unlock. So 100 high-speed connectors there, 200 pipes. I have 100 supercomputers and 100 heavy modular frames because both of these use 50 each. That's just 50 and 50. This is 50, 50, and the 300 rubber. So we can do that. That's done. That's been done. That's been done. Quartz, we still have, you know, these 3 things plus this. I only have. That's one of the issues I've been having. The actual crystal oscillators, they've been an issue. I haven't actually been able to, you know, I don't know. For some reason, my production is real slow. You know, slower than I expected. So I only had 10 available that I could actually just grab. So I won't be able to unlock this just yet. That requires 50. This requires 100, and so does this. Plus that requires alclad aluminum sheets. So we're not there yet. Sulfur has been done as well. So we're just gonna start with, you know, let's go with something that won't take as long. I think they're all about 6, 5, 8 minutes. I think they're just about all the same. Yeah, let's just do Explorer. You know what? But I don't have that on me. But there's somewhere over here. I don't have modular frames somewhere. There you go. Just grab that. Oh look, I had high-speed connectors there. I didn't even notice. I knew I had stuff in there, but I wasn't exactly sure what everything was. So let's go Explorer first. You know, start that research. Next thing, that milestone. Let's throw all that stuff in there. You know, rubber, plastic, and the fabric.
Milestone reached. Gas masks and filter parts will ensure increased odds of survival in gas-based hazardous environments. FICSIT Incorporated would like to extend the friendly advice to not forget to change filters regularly.
Alright, that's it. So, Pod will be back in like 5 minutes, but it doesn't really matter right now, right? We need to unlock tier 7 and 8. So I think another thing, I think the crystal oscillator looks different now. I think it had a different color. I don't think it was that yellow, and I think it was definitely more pink. Than it looks very pale. But I can't remember. Maybe that was one of the changes from that last update. But anyways, so we have to wait for that. There's a bunch of stuff we have to do in here that we can do, but we have to wait for that. So you know, while I was at it, making the fabric, I actually decided to make a parachute. So I'm guessing I activate it when I'm falling. I don't know if I can just do it like from a somewhat high place. Maybe we should test it out. But you know what? Not right now. Hold on. We'll deal with that later. So what I think we should do right now is I wanted to do this, but we're almost out of time. So you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. So I just made a quick save there. I'm just gonna use this parachute and test it out. So I'm just gonna jump, and I'm falling. Do I have to click, left click, right click? How do I activate it? I don't know. I think I'm gonna die. I'm dead because, oh wait, did I activate it, or does it activate it on its own? I wanted to activate it, so it looks yellow. I have no clue where I am. I hope I don't get killed by anything. I believe it activated on its own. I have no clue how that worked. What happened there? But anyways, probably shouldn't be exploring this. I haven't taken a look at it at all. But yeah, anyways, that was the parachute. I don't know, cause it says slows down your fall when activated in midair. I don't know if it activates on its own or you can activate it. Maybe it has like a delay maybe when you click something. The only thing I clicked, I only just clicked I only did the right click, I mean the left click and the right click. That's all I did and it activated. What if I equip that now? And I click on it or something. I think I saw, I thought I just saw something over here like a crashed pod, but anyways. Yeah, I don't think I can activate it on my own. I highly doubt it's the left click, but because the left click is the activation trigger, you know, for like whatever you have in your hands. So I can only think it's the right one. But anyways, that's gonna be it for now. I was pretty much just saving the unlocking of tier 7, tier 8 for the next episode. So that's gonna be the end of this one. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that like button if you liked the episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.